All right, we're back. Got a new video coming in. We're breaking down the Oscars, who won, who lost, the upsets, and we're starting with exactly that, the upsets. Nick, what were some of the stuff that took you by surprise?
Hands down, I thought Joshua James Richards had cinematography in the bag. Like not to say anything against Erik Messer Messerschmidt. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure about that. Nothing to say against him because I think Mank did look like really well, but I thought Richards had that in the bag. He won at the Spirit Awards. I think he might have won at the BAFTAs. I'll double check that, but I was really surprised to see Eric walk away with the win.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this actually for a while now, and I'm really curious because I'm not a cinematographer. I've been directing a film actually recently, which Nick and I were working on, and um, there's a lot of work that goes into being a cinematographer, and I wonder if it had to do in part with a lot of Nomadland is natural lighting, right?
Yeah.
That's not very enhanced by. It's more enhanced by
Mhm.
color correcting maybe than adding lights to it
Mhm.
necessarily. And a lot of it's shot outdoors, and then there are parts of it that are shot indoors, right, in the trucks and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I wonder if the high profile sets, I bet you it was a ton of lighting design that went into Mank. That they
Mhm.
viewed that just the job of maybe doing Mank was more difficult than one of doing Nomadland, which I don't know if I agree with,
Yeah.
but I think maybe that was the case behind why we got that result. I'm not saying
Yeah.
Mank was a poorly lit film. It's actually the cinematography is one of its biggest strengths.
Right.
Um, but I was surprised too because Nomadland's just so aesthetically gorgeous that for any other film to get it, I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Like I rewatched clips of Mank just to see how it looks. And like I think just the whole, how that trend of like Hollywood loves to vote for Hollywood. I think just nailing that um, retro like film feel just on like on again like the lighting and look basis. I was going through it and I was like, okay, I could see why he'd be a serious contender. I just, Nomadland was beautiful to look at. Richards had so much momentum behind him, but didn't make it to the last round, I guess, which I guess is a reoccurring theme in some cases for this particular ceremony, given some nominees, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, why don't we go to that? What was your next big surprise, Nick?
Just looking through here. Um, let's see. Oh, best adapted. I think best adapted threw me off, and I think in part because I hadn't seen the majority of the category. Um, I thought Zhao had that one in the bag just because I think part like Nomadland has had so much momentum. I was just like, oh, they're gonna give it to Nomadland, and also like um, between her and Kemp Powers for One Night at Miami, I personally preferred Kemp Powers, but I was just like it seems like the momentum's there. The father was like I feel it was like a late dark horse in the race. It like came out late, but it came out strong. And I don't know. I was surprised but not upset when I saw that Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller won.
Right. I don't know. I wasn't. The problem is that I haven't been able to see The Father because it's almost impossible to see. And now I think you have to pay $20 for it, which I know in the pandemic, like for people like you and me, that's not necessarily an affordable price range for a college student or your, average movie theater goer.
That's food. That's
Um,
food money. That's dining hall money.
yeah, exactly. Um, so I haven't been able to see that yet. And it only came out in March anyways. It hasn't been out for that. But the love for that movie is really there. I was really somewhat unknown. I I had heard about The Father being really good, and I ended up choosing The Father, even though I hadn't seen, um, The White Tiger, for example. But I would have went towards from what I had seen, of course, because I hadn't seen The Father. Maybe fully deserving. I'm not saying it's not, but One Night in Miami would have been who I would have went for. I love Nomadland. I don't know if it's the best, like screenplays, the best way of describing it. I don't know how some of these categories are judged though. Like they're so
Yeah,
subjective.
I got you. Yeah, and it's the way art is, I guess.
Right. Because I don't think they're really like getting the scripts and being like, well, this was the best screenplay, right? They're doing it based off what they see and how like plot wise. And I think well plot
Right.
wise, Nomadland is strong. It's not
Mhm.
like it's so much of it is delved into character. Where I
Right.
think One Night in Miami is delved like fully into thematics, like
Yeah.
modern day
It,
thematics told through a
yeah.
contemporary lens.
It hits like multiple points upon multiple layers, um, which I guess I don't know. I guess Hampton and Zeller did it better. But again,
Yeah,
it's like that was a real like just dark horse. Like came out late, came out strong though. So that's gonna be interesting. I'd look forward to like eventually seeing it when it's not past my budget.
hmm I don't think there were too many other surprises until we get to the biggest one. Were there any before we get to Best Actor? Which don't worry, we'll get
Um,
to.
yeah, not really. I'd say like just speaking for myself, like the docs and short films is where my ballot took a hit. And like I usually don't get a chance to see all of them, but like I usually do a lot more research to like see which one has momentum, which ones the critics are pulling for. And I think the only one I got was animated short film, which was If Anything Happens, I Love You. Everything else, like I was like completely off, and I was like, oh man. But that's just my
Yeah,
personal experience.
yeah. I mean, nothing else was surprising, I think, except for the big one. So let's just go to the big film.
All right.
The man, the myth, the legend. He's in his 80s. Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor,
Right.
and he beat out. This was a fantastic category. Let's just
Mhm.
acknowledge this.
100%.
He beat out, and I'm pulling up the list. That's why I keep on stalling right now. He beat out Riz Ahmed,
Mhm.
Chadwick Boseman, Gary Oldman, and Stephen Yeun.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say he also beat out Delroy Lindo, who in my heart should have been on this list. Um, it's criminal that he wasn't. But
Mhm.
what were your thoughts on Anthony Hopkins wins? One, how surprised were you?
Dude,
And
it was like the carpet got pulled out from under me, and like I'm talking like blindsided again, just like referencing how the father's momentum just appeared out of nowhere. Like I saw Anthony Hopkins like back when like the nominations were first announced, like the father was like spoken about in whispers, and I was just like, oh, okay, like I hear this is good, and Anthony Hopkins, like that's a you can't get a more reliable actor. But I was like, it's for sure Boseman and Ahmed. They've been nominated every possible award ceremony. Like I was like, it has to be between one of them. And of course, Chadwick is like been on a streak. And like I told you this the night of, but I refreshed Wikipedia because that was my source. I was working and like they had Bozeman. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I refreshed it again and it said Hopkins. And I was like, whoa. I was like, this was like again, like completely blindsided. I was not expecting it. And I don't know. It was just like a really, and of course they had to end it on that category. And so it was just chaotic end to a ceremony for for the most chaotic year in movies. So I suppose kind of
yeah,
fitting.
yeah, I'm gonna if this was a text message, I'd emphasize everything you said.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go on something different. I'm gonna rip the Oscars for a minute because this
All
is
right.
such a terrible thing they did. I really think it was disgraceful. They were betting on Chadwick Boseman winning. That's why they put the category last.
Hmm.
Always, every year, it's Best Picture is the final award, right? Because it's the biggest award. What's the best film of the year? It can't get any bigger than that.
Hmm.
It's a whole team award. It encompasses everyone who was involved
Right.
in the work of a film. And they didn't go last with that, which was really that in and of itself was a terrible decision
Yeah.
by the producers. Two, ending on Best Actor because they wanted to capitalize. I understand wanting to give Chadwick Boseman his moment
Yeah.
because they thought he was going to win, and they don't know. They don't know ahead of time. The producers don't know. It's only the accountants who do the counting
Right.
So they were just betting on Chadwick Boseman winning, and they put it last so that they could end on that moment. That's what they were trying to do, and
Mhm.
it completely backfired. And it was frustrating to me because no matter where you put that moment, Chadwick Boseman, if he had won, it would have been impactful. But
Mhm.
putting it at the end is a show of trying to capitalize off of someone's
Right.
memory for ratings as
Right.
opposed to leaving it where it is, because you'll still honor him and there will still be, you'll still get the views and whatever you need, but you will also keep the legacy in place while respecting
Yeah, like
someone like Chadwick Boseman. It left a bad taste in my mouth.
no, I mean, and I think everyone felt the same way. I made the mistake of texting my friends back home. I was like, "Oh, Chadwick Boseman won," and then having to take it back literally seconds later. Like, I'm so sorry, that's not what happened. And I can only like because Steven Soderbergh, director of Ocean's 11, was the producer on this thing. I can only imagine him like tearing his hair out at the end because like I have to imagine they didn't tell him what was in the envelope, so he was as blindsided as the rest of us. So his
Yeah.
plan completely backfired, and I'm like, I at least from my perspective, I'm like, I wouldn't put it on Soderbergh's fault. I would put it on the Academy's fault that they just didn't communicate. Like I don't know, like I can imagine Soderbergh gave them like, this is my plan, and the Academy was like, all right, cool, and they're like, wait, should we tell him that it's not going to work out? And they're like, nah, don't like
Oh, the Academy doesn't know. They don't
don't
know.
know either. Okay, so
Literally, the only people who know are the people who are in charge of the counting. They don't tell anyone else. So the Academy doesn't know. It's
well,
literally like 3 or 4
I
people.
think someone should. I think more than them should know because we, as seen from this case, like I don't know, Soderbergh got cocky, but I also can't blame him for being just a little bit maybe over assumptive because like he did have so much momentum. I'm just like, oh my, like someone should have said something or like been like, hey, Steven, you should probably rearrange this now before like because it's not going to end the way I keep picturing Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. This is not going to end the way you think, and like I don't know. It's just like it's just what it is, and like I've seen some people be like Joaquin Phoenix was like he just read his lines and like we wanted to get out of there, and like it was a very anticlimactic end, and like they shot themselves in the foot, really.
Yeah. I I really think that it's just a frustrating thing. Keep it the way it is, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's the way it should build. It should be a crescendo towards
Right.
you get all the appetizers, and then you finally get your medal.
Yeah. And then like reflexively
Um,
like backslaps Nomadland away because it's just like because at that point Nomadland it's just like I got brushed over and now it got double brushed over by the whole controversy of it all, even though like Nomadland's great, Chloe Zhao's great, Frances McDormand's great, and now like they are a footnote in this ceremony because of this play that has backfired spectacularly. Um, I told my friends that like the worst part of this all is probably Anthony Hopkins is going to get a load of crap for no reason from the internet, even though
exactly.
like like I've seen a few clips of him and I was like, yeah, I'd like, I had to sit down and see the film, but like if he was the most deserving, he's the most deserving, at least to the Academy. But I'm like, he's gonna get so much crap just for the
Right.
fact of how they played it. I'm like, don't do this to the man. He's just showed up, did his job. Like he doesn't. I don't know. I think it also like came off worse that he wasn't there, which isn't his fault, I guess. But like it, whatever. Like gave it you. I don't know. It was the ultimate. You played yourself. It was the
Right.
ultimate situation, and I don't know. It was chaos all around.
Mhm. And think about it this way. It's it, one, he didn't go. He's an 80-year-old man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He shouldn't be there. Like if you saw the mask wearing, like wasn't really existent at the ceremony,
Right.
or there were videos of after parties afterwards. It felt kind of distasteful, kind of
Yeah.
based on what we're seeing with COVID. And it's not even like everyone there was fully vaccinated,
Right.
where it was like, oh, no one's going to be able to get it. So I think that combined with the fact they just switched the order around. And it's supposed to be about the best film of the year. That's the biggest thing. That's what audiences want to see. They want to know, okay, what film should I go and retroactively watch?
Right.
Because when they're announcing those categories at the end, everyone's watching at the end, right? Because they want to see the final award.
Mm-hmm.
We should be talking about Nomadland and how great of a movie it is and how everyone should go and watch that film.
Yep.
How everyone should go and watch the other films that were nominated. Because that highlights them. That makes a lot of these films that may not break even, that makes this whole Oscar campaign for them worth it because they may be able to get all those second watches on demand, whatever streaming service they're on. And it really helps a lot of the indie creators of these films if they're independent films, like Nomadland. And so it's frustrating, and it really undercuts, where the Oscars can be helpful towards the actual industry themselves.
Right.
For a moment that was for the Oscars and only for the Oscars, and not for, the filmmakers that make the award show so special.
Yeah, and at this point, I think we've covered all the bases on this thing. It's just like Soderbergh got cocky, got played. It looks bad, reflects bad on both not bad on Chadwick, but he's at the center of it. Reflects like Anthony Hopkins gets dragged into it. Backslaps Nomadland. It's just what a 2020 way to end an Academy Award ceremony. I was just talking to my friend. I was like, God forbid there's ever a normal Oscar ceremony. When that happens, that's when the world's gonna end. God forbid ever they do it just normal, just play it straight. Everything happens the way it should. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I want to say one last thing. We don't know if it was Soderbergh. It was probably someone who was producing the show who made that decision. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
The director in this case is not the person who has the most power over the event. But with that kind of wraps up our upsets and what we're upset about following the Oscars. But let us know, what do you guys think? Do you think that these upsets were warranted? Have you seen The Father? Was it worthy of Best Adapted Screenplay? Was Anthony Hopkins, did you think he was your favorite performance of the year ahead of people like Chadwick Boseman and Riz Ahmed? What else were you surprised for? Was there someone who won who we didn't mention that you're like, I didn't see that coming? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out our other videos breaking down the rest of the Oscars. We'll see you.
Yep.